Morning. I do apologise. I don't know if anybody was waiting on the other. I haven't figured out yet how to set up a stream and then kick that one off. For some reason, it's not working. Morning, Dylan. How you doing, buddy? Did everything sound okay here? If you don't mind putting a quick yes or a smiley face or whatever, just to let me know everything sounds okay. Yeah, they are, mate. It sounds okay. That's important. Yeah. They are different sometimes, mate. I'll tell you what I'll do. I will reload my historic data. That's quite often the case. It's not an issue. You just need to trade your own bars, really. Let's have a look. Everything's okay. 2000 tick chart. As long as you're on the 2000 tick chart, I am. All's good. I have spoken to Mac a few times about that over the last sort of 18 months. And it's pretty normal, but it depends where you are in relation to the speed of your internet connection, where the data comes from, and a bunch of other things that are way technical above my head. So I think there's a few other people waiting on the other stream. I couldn't figure out how to start the screen. I can set the stream up, I can schedule a stream, but I couldn't sort of work out how to get that scheduled stream up and running, so I'm going to have a little fiddle around with it later this evening, and hopefully I should get it ready for tomorrow. But we've got a couple of people in now, so okay. So we've had some news. We've had the NFP news this morning, or non-farm pay. Yeah. Nothing major in the news this morning. We have got some more news in about 25 minutes. So probably not going to take much by then. Before then, rather. Okay, there is a possible second entry there, but we seem to be going a bit sideways at the moment, so I think I'm going to leave that. Dylan, are you part of Mac's group? Are you, buddy? Just give me an idea who's in this morning. Hey, Brant, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I gotta look at your times. Your time schedule's a different time. I think I'm 5 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time, so it's what time? It's about 20 to 3 where I'm in the UK. I apologise, Brant, if you're waiting for the scheduled stream to start. I scheduled a stream, but I couldn't figure out for some reason how to get that scheduled stream, so I had to restart a fresh streaming live now, so I'll figure that out for tomorrow, and then hopefully all's good. Are you family from Marco's group? I didn't realise Marco had a group. I do chat to him from time to time. He's helped me out quite a few times in the past. Great trader Marco is. I love his analysis on a Friday. If anybody else hasn't watched that, I highly recommend it. He's very black and white, Marco. He's very robotic in his trading, which is exactly how you want to be. So when you say 5 minutes away, what do you mean, mate? From more news? Because I've got 1500, which is 20 minutes on my chart. Is that what you mean, bud? Is it, Brant? I didn't realise Marco had a Facebook group. You mean? I think you mean just the Max Facebook group. Is that what you mean? I think. I think I missed this.
Order submitted.
I'm going to take this.
Order filled.
Okay. I've just noticed this second entry here off the bottom of this range, so I'm going to take this. I'm aware there's some news in 20 minutes, which is why I'm taking this one now. Yeah, he's admin, yeah. He is very good, Marco. I like Marco a lot. He's helped me out a lot in the last 18 months. He's a very solid trader. I'm getting a little bit nervous about this. Right, okay, so it's broken below this bar. So technically, if I look at that, we've got one attempt to go, two attempt to go
Target
higher.
filled.
Right, okay, I thought that may happen. I assume we've just hit some news there. See, I've got this. The reason I took that is that's a second entry. That's a failed second entry short. It triggered below and shot up. I thought that's what took it up. I don't think it can have been. I don't think it was. I think we've hit news. Somebody mentioned 5 minutes. See, on my chart, I've got the Jolts job opening as news at 1500 hours, which is in 20 minutes. So I'm not quite sure why that shot up that. I thought usually a move that quick would be from news. I don't know. See, we've had this push up here and we've come back into range. Whether we're sort of working our way down. See, this bar here, if we count from the top, first entry, second entry, it's a failed second entry short. It's triggered and then it's come up and I'm assuming it's hit stops. But I wouldn't have thought there'd be that many people in that trade, to be honest with you. Not enough to push it up that quick. Chicago PMI. See, I've not got that on my chart here for some reason. There's your Chicago. There's your Chicago. I've not heard of that. I've certainly not got nothing on my chart here. These are the only high impact news I've got available on my chart. I'll have to look into that. So I think I got bloody lucky there. I thought that might have a little bit of a push might have been because that failure, but I've took plenty of track trades that move pretty quick, but not that quick. I'll have to look into that. See this indicator I've gotten here is from Max PPI Part 2, I believe, or is it no? Tell a lie, it's this one here. that's the news I have. I've never come across any other news that hasn't been on my chart, so that's something I'm going to have a little look at. Yeah, Dylan, yeah, maybe that's so, mate. I mean, that was a quick move, that was. I mean, we have a push down here, and I mean, if we count from up here, first entry, second entry, that's a failure. It did trigger below, and then it broke above that pretty damn quick. That move to me is a bit quick for a trap trade, but who's counting? I'm up $300 odd, so that's all good. I'm taking an evaluation. I did an evaluation last week, but on Thursday I had a really bad day. Market conditions were really hard, and I wasn't careful enough, and I ended up losing some trades. And I was down quite a bit. So the following day, as the Apex offers at the moment 80%, I thought I might just try my luck. So I went sort of all in to see if I could pull it out of the bag, and I couldn't. I ended up blowing the account, so as it's only costing about $30 odd at the moment, I thought I'd start fresh today and try and calm my trading a little bit. But I suppose most of you are aware of the recent Apex news. I've got to say I'm a little bit blown away. It's almost too good to be true. So effectively, you can pass an evaluation and get a payday in less than a month, which is amazing. Really, it's great. It certainly has a good sort of it's certainly a good mental boost. So that's pretty amazing. That is. I just hope they don't realise in a couple of months they've been a bit too generous, and they've got to start removing these changes. I can't see it. I mean, Daryl seems like a pretty smart cookie to me. I don't think I think he'd make that sort of mistake. So I'm assuming that Chicago PMI is maybe a medium impact. I might have to I usually just keep the high impacts on there. I might need to put the medium impacts back on as well, just to be on the safe side. But whatever medium impact news it was, I'm assuming it was pretty good the way that candle shot up, fortunately in my favour. Absolutely right, Brunt, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, it did seem I was absolutely, I think there was a lot of volume shooting around the Apex, the various different Apex Facebook groups. I think people were. It almost felt like Christmas had come early. Does seem a bit too good to be true, but hey, I'm not complaining. I mean, it's fantastic news. I mean, the fact that you have to wait for 25 trade. See, unfortunately, with just the nature of this, unless you're earning money, you've really got to work at the same time, and not everyone can afford to trade 5 days a week. And go through that period of a couple of months. I mean, I changed my job around, and I trade 3 days a week. But even at 3 days a week, I'd have to trade for the best part of 8 and 9 weeks just to qualify for a payment. And then if you've missed that week, I think it's the 20th to the 25th of the month. If you've missed that area to put a withdrawal in, you're gonna have to wait another week. So theoretically, you could be waiting 3.5 months. It's a long time to wait to get some money. But this 10 days is it's a bit incredible, really. I mean, I'm waiting for 100% off evaluation fees and no monthly PA fees. Amazing, I've got to say, actually. Great news, which is a bit unfortunate for the other prop firms out there, because I think they're going to be losing some customers. It's going to kill them off, I think. Is it Bullanox? I've not used them before. I've used UProfit. and earn to trade before, and I don't think they can touch Apex now. I've got to say, fair dues to Darren Martin. He listens to his customers, and he's certainly making things good. And 100% the first $25,000 as well. Amazing. What I think one of the things that surprised me the most, you got another funded account last week. Wasn't good to qualify for a withdrawal to the end of January, but after the new changes, yeah, good for you, mate. Good for you. Nice little early Christmas present that for you, bud. That's the bit that I think that surprised me. Is anybody who's in a current PA now qualified as well? So I dare say there was quite a lot of people out there which could literally put a claim in straight away for some money, which is, I think that's one of the bits that shocked me. I thought they'd say, from the end of the month or from now on, but they included, if you're currently in a PA account now and you've been trading say 10, 12 days, thinking you've got another 2 weeks of trading minimum. That's good news for you. Christmas has certainly come early. Certainly been difficult trading lately, I've got to say. I remember when I started sort of a year and a half ago, things seemed a lot easier. A lot more straightforward. There was a lot more trend days. Nowadays, you might get one trend day a week if you're lucky. The rest is sort of sideways up and down, and every time, if you look at, we call this sort of a range day. If you look at this, every time it goes up, it's a different, it's pretty difficult. I remember when I started, it's not so bad at the bottom. If you look at the bottom, it's bouncing. At least the last 3 times, it's moved up. If you'd, any one of those green candles, if you'd have taken those, you'd have had a winning trade. So the bottom seems to be working nicely, but the top, I'd sort of be a little bit nervous shorting at the top. Unless it maybe break this area here. Does my stream, is it running smoothly? I've just got an error message. Please use a keyframe frequency 4 seconds or less. My stream health is saying poor at the moment. Is everything running smoothly? I think it is. Okay, we're moving down to the bottom again. Quite a lot of stems on these, isn't there? Looks good. All right, buddy. Thank you, Dylan. Trouble is on that, I'm assuming most of you guys are in the US. I think your internet connections and speeds are way superior to ours. I think my upload speed is about 10 to 12 megabits per second. My download speed is about 45 to 50, so it's relatively, I think it's a relatively below average. Yeah, we've got some more news here. Job openings in about 6.5 minutes. So I think I'm going to leave things alone. We've had 2 bits of news today which has caused a positive reaction. Does that mean the third one's going to cause a positive reaction? You got 6 ticks, did you? Good on you, bud. So I've increased my my profit margin lately. I went from 1 point to 2 points about maybe 8 or 9 months ago, and things worked really well. Didn't seem to make a difference, apart from when it comes down to the profit you're making, effectively doubling my profit. But I started watching the penguin guy, that penguin trader guy on YouTube, and he goes for 1-to-1 minimum. And ever since I've started that, same again, hasn't seemed to make a difference. I'm just winning just as many trades. But the good thing about 1-to-1 is you can win a trade and lose a trade, and you're not up or down. So I'm finding it has a lot more effect on your sort of mental well-being. There's nothing worse. When I started trading 18 months ago, excuse me, I'm a bit croaky today. When I started trading 18 months ago, scalping a point, you would scalp 5. Let's say you had 5 winning trades in a row, 5 points, you'd be 5 points up. You get sort of one large bar and you lose that, maybe 4.5 points plus a tick above, tick below it. Including commissions, it would wipe your trades out. It was absolutely heartbreaking. But ever since I've moved up to 1-to-1, it's made a big difference. Do you know, Dylan, what I started doing, buddy, was I watch Max trade every day, and I compared his chart. I went through his chart at all the trades he marked, and I worked out how much profit that would have made. That's how I went from 1 to 2. So just look at someone's chart that is a good trader. Either look at Daniel's or Marco or indeed Mac, and just work out every trade they took, whether they would have made 2 points or 1-to-1. And that'll give you your answer, mate. When I went from 1 point to 2, I went through Daniel's charts every day for a fortnight, and I saw, I think it was somewhere in the region of 35 trades, and every single one of them would have made 2 points. So for me, it was a no-brainer. Yeah, sometimes it takes that little bit longer to sit through it, but numbers don't lie. If you look at someone's chart, or even look at your own chart, look at your own, when you have good trades, and work out how many points you would have made. And if you get 1-to-1, then the numbers don't lie. You can, you better work that one out for yourself. But from when I started 18 months ago, bars seem a little bit bigger lately. Mind you, the ATR at the moment is just under 3 points per bar, which is not huge, but it has been a lot higher than that. But there's just, I don't know, there's more. I suppose there's more and more people trading every day. There's so many people out there that are likes of me and you guys, who can just trade from. All you need is a computer and internet connection, and away you go. It's it's becoming more popular. Certainly, if you look at the the prop firms out there, they seem to be popping up daily, because there's a lot of business out there. There's a lot of people wanting to sort of make better lives for themselves. I mean, there's not many businesses you could start and make potentially a ton of money from a computer and an internet connection, really. You know, I've had a business in the past, and you've got to have a vehicle, you've got to have insurances, you've got to have tools, you've got to have a property. It's just one overhead after another. But with trading, wow, who hasn't got a computer? Who isn't hooked up to the internet now? You know, I'd say probably 80%, 80, 85, 90% of the population in the world, I think. No, it's so easy. Yeah, have a look, Dylan. Have a look, buddy. I mean, I always compare my chart to Max. I'll go and have a look at Mac's chart and see where his trades work. It doesn't always work because obviously the charts can differ, the bars can differ. Right, we've got some news there. Because the bars can differ. But just look at Mac's chart and that you'll be able to work that out in 10 minutes. Whether, you know, the trades look back over the last few days. You'll be able to work out. Numbers don't lie. Well, we've had some positive news there. Mind you, having said that, is it positive because we've had a push up and then we've continued down? We've had a push up and we've continued down. Got to be careful doing these. I tend to get a little bit too keen doing these. And I don't want to keep remembering so far. We'll keep it in mind we've been in a range. This could be a failed breakout of a range. And I've drawn an overall downtrend and I'm looking for shorts when maybe I should be looking to get back in this range. It's a bit really too early to see if we're in a bit of a downtrend. We've certainly made our way down, but we tend to be working around in here, so maybe this isn't part of a downtrend. Maybe we've just broken out the bottom of this range. So I'm going to where am I? I live in a place called Shropshire, bud, which is, if you look at the UK, it's about 50 miles west of Birmingham. And I live in a town called Shrewsbury, which is probably, you may have heard of it, but it's where Charles Darwin was born, went to school and sort of brought up. It's a little small town, lots of black and white Tudor buildings and an 800-year castle and all the good stuff. Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of the football. I watched the England Wales game last night, but I've gone off football a little bit more. Where I live, there's a local football team, and there just seems to be more and more trouble every time there's a match. You know, oh, there's fights and police and oh, there's just police everywhere. It's just I don't know. It's giving it a bit of a bad name now. I tend to watch a lot of cricket. I don't know. I'm not sure whether you guys from the US are familiar with cricket so much, but I tend to watch that. And you can go to a game where there may be, I don't know, 30,000 people, and you won't see one copper there. You won't see one. Lots of stewards, but no police whatsoever. And you can just sit there all day having a couple of beers and watch the cricket. So I tend to sort of watch more of that. Although I follow England. They had a good game last night, won 3-0 against Wales. A couple of cracking goals, I've got to say. I did watch that. But, I used to follow a local team. I used to follow Man United when I was a bit younger. But, hey, buddy, yeah. I fellow Brit there, 5 trader. Yeah, it was a lucky one, that, mate. It was off, well, I say lucky. It went, I took the third bounce off the bottom of this range here, and I saw that failure there, and it triggered and went above it. But apparently there was some medium impact news, and it shot up and giving me profit in a split second. So five trade. I've spoke to him a bunch of times. Guy from Scotland, a little bit further north from me. In fact, I'm sitting here now with a small glass of Lafroig 10-year-old single malt. I do like my single malts. I'm a bit of a whiskey fanatic. And I just like to have one little glass a day. Appreciate it at the end of the day, but I thought I'd have mine early. Thought I'd have my glass early today. You're not streaming today, bud, or you're streaming later? You're usually a little bit late in the day, aren't you? See, we've had a range so far, and we've had a break out of it. Or have we had a sort of a slow downtrend, which is also possible. The trouble is, I've got a... Thanks for that, mate. It does keep me awake, I've got to say. Coffee and whiskey. I only have one a day. One, maybe 2 shots a day. Oh, you're at work here, bud. Well, you're supposed to be at work. Focus on work. You might be being watched or monitored. Yeah, you can't. It's hard to stay away sometimes, isn't it? I've got to say, when I'm working, sometimes I'll get my phone out and have a little look, find out who's doing what. Yeah, see, we've got a second entry up here. The thing is, I'm a little bit because we've been in this range and we've had a break out the range. I'm a little bit unsure about going short. It does seem to be holding there, doesn't it? The trouble is, I tend to draw these overall trends a little bit quick and then get focused on, at the moment, a downtrend where 5 minutes ago we were in the middle of this range. So at the moment, I think we're just in this range and we've had a breakout. We seem to be moving back into it. So we've had one entry, first entry, and maybe looking for a second entry above the EMA, but the EMA has gone flat, so perhaps we are in a bit of a downtrend. I don't know. Who knows? Okay, we're back in the range, so perhaps that was just a failed breakout. There wasn't anything here really worth going along anyway. We've had one push up. But also we have been slowly feathering off. Yeah. The trouble is, mate, I tend to, sometimes I can see we're going down a bit. We have got a downward bias, but we're certainly not a downtrend. And sometimes I can draw that downtrend and get suckered into the fact that we're going lower and get into some shorts when we may like just this. If there'd have been a setup there to go short, I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen with my finger. If I'd have had a sort of a setup there to go short, I may have got into that. But you know, at the moment, I'm just trying to keep in mind currently what we're doing, and up until now, all we've had is a break out of this. It's certainly been holding. It's certainly been holding at the bottom there. So at the moment, there's no real hint that we're going shorter. So I seem to be going through a little bit of frustrating phase in my trading at the moment. I think I've slipped into some bad habits. I went through a stage about 7 or 8 months ago. I did an evaluation, and I kid you not, I did 26 trades, and out of 26 trades, I won 24. For some reason, I was in the zone. I was only taking those really obvious trades. You know, maybe we're in a bit of a downtrend and we make one attempt to go high. We push through the EMA, pull back up, nice and bearish, hugging the underside, those obvious trades. And I think I sat there for 6 hours one day and took one trade. But the 26 trades, 24 won. And there was a couple, maybe 5 or 6 that I came out early because I lost my nerve a little bit, but they all would have made 2 points. So it just goes to show when you can, you know, we'll get that's maybe a failure here. It just goes to show when you're in the zone, everything seems to work really well. So I'm trying to be a little bit more patient and sort of try and get back into where I was. Okay. So we've moved back into this now. Let's have a look at this. Let's get one.
Order submitted.
If this ends up nice and bullish, I'm going to take this. Hopefully it'll be a failed second entry short. But I am aware we've had this slow drop off. But we'll see. If it's nice and bullish, I'm going to take this one. So far so good. It's exactly where I like it, hugging that top line of the EMA. Okay. No, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm a little bit nervous. There's 3 in a row there. It's probably going to push up, but I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit nervous about that. I think it's likely it's going to work, but I don't like the way it's struggling here. Let's see if that comes down and stops me out. They're bunching up there. You took the failure. Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about this now, bud. Part of me thinks get in there now while it's a smaller. In fact, oh, see the way they're going sideways? No, I think the sensible thing here, yeah, it's a big risk. What's that bar there? Let's have a look. 6, 7, so it's 3.5 points. Tick above, tick below, it's 4 points. Yeah, I'm a little bit, yeah, I think that's going to come and stop that out. I hope it doesn't for anybody's sake who's in the trade. But just something didn't feel right there. And see the way all those 4 bars are going sideways. You might be lucky. Sometimes the trend's your friend. You might be lucky here. Part of me thinks get in there now and you're only risking a few ticks. But I think it's, yeah, okay. So if you were in that trade, you just got stopped out. Bad luck. But it didn't seem right for me, and the sensible thing to do would be to leave that trade alone. And just the fact that those 3 bars are stacking side by side was enough to put me off.
Order cancelled.
I thought again that maybe you are in a downtrend, who knows? Just got confirmed. So maybe it is valid, yeah. It's hard to say at the moment. It's still early in the day, really. But I'm certainly more convinced now. But, you know, I got to say, it's a lovely feeling when you decide not to take a trade and it would have not worked. Makes you feel good. It makes you start to realise that you're finally starting to know what you're talking about. So is that there like that? Or is that there like that? You would think it would be there like that, wouldn't you? In which case we've broken out. So perhaps we might make a new low now. So if we can get a little bit of a pullback, I may go short here. See, we've been in a range so far. We've had a failed breakout. It has pushed back in, but that's as far as it's gone, and it is slowly dipping off. Thanks, mate. Yeah, it's not often I make sensible choices lately, but that was one. So perhaps I'll reverse my bit of bad luck. Well, I say bad luck. We all sort of slip into. It's very easy, you know. The saying is, take the best trades. But you know, what do you class as the best trade? You know, I suppose it's not quite black and white. I mean, there's the obvious trades, you know, the ones that you look at and you get that all of a sudden lovely, exciting feeling like it's Christmas. It's that obvious, and you take that trade and they always win. So you've got those trades, and you've got other trades that, you know, are pretty good. But it's, you know, it's hard to say, isn't it? How careful's careful, how strict is strict. So we've had this uptrend, haven't we? We've stalled at the top. We're going to come back down and push in, but I think I'm certainly in more favour that we're in a downtrend, although it's a little bit of a messy one. But perhaps we've had a bit of a spike and channel, and perhaps it's more like, perhaps it's that one actually. In fact, I'm going to count that one. That was that spike from the news, wasn't it? So that is probably looking better. In fact, we could probably even take that a bit lower. Maybe as we take that one. It's hard to say really, isn't it? I've noticed Max, sometimes he'll take this one, sometimes he'll consider that as a spike and channel. But it's touching here, it's touching here, it's touching there. So I'd probably say maybe it's that bar there. So I'm going to leave that, but I'm going to be aware that I might not have it in the perfect position. What's been happening the last few days? Yeah, so we've had a couple of big pushes down, and then we've sort of made it back up to more or less where we were. Yeah, see, over the last few days we're just slowly coming down, aren't we? I think everything's doing that. I got to say, my cryptos are being killed at the moment. And I've got the 10,000 tick chart up here somewhere. That's there. Yeah, I've got my 10,000 tick chart. So the 10,000 tick chart is showing we've been slowly going up. 1, 2, 3, 4 over the last couple of 3 weeks. Who knows? Who knows? Another thing I've got to keep in mind as well is the short-term trends. I don't think people know how important they are, but I have tend to keep making them wider than they should be. Yeah, it is, buddy. Yeah, I started one last week. I had a good Wednesday, and on the Thursday, I don't know what happened on the Thursday. It was a tough trading day. And I think it was the second day I'd live streamed, and I think I felt a little bit under pressure because I got people watching me to go in and do a trade, which is the opposite. So I've had to sort of, you feel like if people are waiting, watching, they're going to get bored. And I think I got a bit too excited and ended up losing a few trades. And I don't know, I think I was about $1,200 or $1,300 in the red. And as the evaluations are only about 28 quid at the moment, I thought I'd start afresh. So I when the stream ended, I just went shit or bust, basically, and it didn't work. So I thought as we're up with 80% off, I thought I'd start afresh this morning. Put that down to performance anxiety for last week. So yeah, start of a new eval. I've been going through months and months and months of blowing accounts. I think I've come full circle now. I've been through a stage where I felt like my whole guts have been knotted up for week after week, and I've almost been taking them out of anger. I've had a couple in a day. I've been taking one and I've been going 10 contract. I've been going stupid. But you sort of get into that frustrated. I think when you're doing this, you have to go through all those different emotions until you start. I suppose it's like, I don't know. It's sometimes it feels like you're in a bad relationship and the slightest thing sets you off. And sometimes you've got to come away from it. I had a break from a couple of 3 weeks, and it's better. But it's getting rid of that. It's getting used to those emotions. I suppose if your partner turns around one day and says they're leaving you, the initial thing is shock, then disbelief, then sort of frustration, then anger, then a bunch of other different emotions. And it's sort of similar in trading in a sense that you've got to go through those emotions. And losing money, it's an emotional thing. It's tough. No one likes to lose money. But when you've been losing money and again and again and again and again, you get more and more frustrated, and you've got to go through that process. It is what it is. You have to go through it, and you're going to do loads of, you're going to do a lot of silly things. You're going to be throwing stupid money away, and you just all right, Jimmy pal, how you doing? Another fellow Brit there. I think, are you north or south? I can't remember. I think you Dublin. Are you in the south? I can't remember. But yeah, I also had the same. Yeah, I know what you mean, buddy. Fife. What is your name anyway? But yeah, so I'm trying to be a little more careful now, and I think you go full circle, don't you? You've got to. And I know they say that 95% of traders will never make it as a trader. Now, I'm guessing that a good part of those give up. Not that they'll never make a trader, because they're not the type of people. I think anybody. Scruffy, how you doing, pal? How you doing? I think everybody can do it. I think maybe unless you're a gambler. If you're a gambler who've got a very addictive nature, then maybe it's not ideal for you. But I think you've just got to go full circle. Now, I know where I've been, and I know how it's affected me, and I've had days where I'm feeling miserable. I've had days where I'm feeling depressed. But you learn a lot about yourself when you're going through this. And one thing I've learned a lot about me is I've got a thick skin. I can take knockback after knockback. And a couple of days of feeling a bit down and miserable, and I process it and I come back gagging for more. Oh, you're in Kent. You're from Ireland. North or the south? I was in Kent a few days ago, actually. Kent. That's a hike from here. That is. But yeah, I mean, you've got to go full. I don't know. Some people learn. I'm the type of person that I've got to bang my head against a brick wall enough times before I realise it bleeds. And I think I'm just a slow learner when it comes to that. I tend to, I think I just like the punishment. But, I feel like I'm getting closer every time I take a PA. I think I've blown about 6 PA accounts, I think. Every time I take a PA account, I seem to get a little bit further. The money seems to be. But I just need to get into that slightly calmer settling mode. But they don't stress me as much as they used to. I remember taking trades in an evaluation, and my neck felt like I had 2 hands gripped around it. I was that tense. But I think you get past that in the end, and you start to settle. Northeast Island, north, southeast, northeast. Okay, yeah. So we're around sort of Larne. Is that northeast? Is it Larne? What's the north coast? I can't think. Northeast coast. Nice island, great place. I went over there years ago fishing. I lived over there for a while. You're blown in elite account. Is that earn to trade, is it? To be honest with you, mate, I wouldn't worry about that. The lag, Johnny. My lag's quite low at the moment, but it's been up as high as 4. I don't know, I've been doing this for 18 months and it's never really seemed to make a great deal of difference to my trading. I've spoke to other people about it. I don't think it's a problem, mate. I think that question's been asked many times. My lag's quite low at the moment, but I don't even know what it is. Is it lag? The time? Is it the amount of time it takes to come from the servers? The data side? I don't really know, mate. I'm not the technical type. And I certainly don't know a lot about Rhythmic. I open Rhythmic and I just drop it down in the taskbar out the way. And I only think I've ever once had this freeze on me. And to be fair to Apex, they sorted it out. They just put it back to what it was the previous day, which was, it worked out better. So, but I've had a Ninja Trader go down on me once. I flattened everything. I just clicked flat and I shut it down and restarted it, and it had closed it. So, so I won't worry too much about that. But if you are part of Max Group, I was for a year, but I haven't been the second time around. But if you are part of Max Group, drop them an email, or if you go on the website, there's frequently asked questions. I dare say the question's been asked a bunch of times. Well, I started doing it twice, but I heard they had the live stream. Daryl did a live stream Q&A about the new changes, and he mentioned, I think you only need it up once. So that's all I do, mate. I've just got it up once. I mean, to be honest with you, I never really used to have it up. It's only when it once got down that I just, I just have it once. He mentioned you only need it once. So if you've not watched that, by the way, I think it's on YouTube. Daryl's stream last night, the Q&A about all the new Apex. Yeah, no worries, mate. Yeah, I think we certainly seem to be in a downtrend now, don't we? Elite trader funding. Just trading the static no drawdown account. All right, yeah. Trading micros. Game changer definitely less. Yeah. I'm finding things. When I was in that trade a minute ago, I actually felt relatively calm. Whereas 6 months ago, I felt like I was about to get the electric chair. You go through all sorts of emotions. Do you know what? The only way I can describe this is when I was about 14, my stepdad came home to me and he said, I've just enrolled you in boxing classes. And I remember going to these boxing classes in me string vest, white string vest, which were big in the 80s. And I remember going there with a friend, and I went there for about 3 months. And we used to do circuits every night. We'd use, punch on the bag, we'd use the pads, we'd use the speed ball, and, a bunch of sit-ups and press-ups. And I remember after a couple of months, coming to the end of the session, he said, right, you and you in the ring, we're going to do a little bit of sparring. Keep your hands up, keep your elbows in. And I remember getting in there and I got hit. And that was it. I saw red. Arms started swinging. We were both swinging like crazy men for about 10 seconds till they split us up. And shortly after that, there was a couple of guys who'd been boxing for maybe a year and a half, something like that. And they were a lot calmer. They were a lot more, they were doing it properly. And my point I'm trying to make is it's the emotional side. Once you get into something that gets those emotions up, it takes time, and you've got to expose yourself to those emotions to start to get you. There's no two ways about it. They're not the sort of emotions we have in our normal day-to-day lives. So when you get them out the blue, you can't manage them. But once you start to get used to them and you expose yourself on a regular basis, i.e. trading, they start to become not an issue after a while, and you start to be able to manage them better. And I think at that point, things start to get a little bit easier, and that's where I feel I'm sort of coming up to now. Yes, bud, 2 contracts. Some say it's too much. I don't know. I mean, I've got to lose 6 trades in a row to blow my account. And if you trade this strategy from max, I believe the high probability trades are about 95%. Now, if you're losing 6 trades in a row, you're obviously doing something wrong and you may not be quite ready for this. So I figure, if I'm losing 6 trades in a row, I'm not ready anyway. So I wouldn't have thought I would lose 6 trades in a row. I've never lost 6 trades in a row. So the only way I tend to blow an account is when I go on tilt, if something goes wrong. So I think 2 is okay. And I honestly, I'd rather get over and done with, in maybe 5 or 6 days. I believe I know enough to be able to take good quality trades. I can certainly spot good quality trades. It's when my patience start to get the best of me that I take trades that something in the back of my head is saying leave it alone. That's where I tend to get in trouble a little bit. So I'm trying to focus a little bit more and concentrate on. I mean, if you can just get 2 winning trades a day, you make a fortune. You don't need to take 3, 4, 5 trades, which some do. 2 trades a day. If you can do 2 trades a day and even get 80% trading 1-to-1, you make a ton of money. But it's just keeping that mental focus. Yeah, see, I think the problem I'm going through at the moment is that's a downtrend. We've had a break and a new low. Now, you would think we'd be moving higher, wouldn't you? But also, we may be in this little range here, although something doesn't quite look right with the range. But we've made a first entry there. If we go up a little bit, break above this and end up bearish, do you go short? If we're in a downtrend, every time theoretically it comes up to this EMA, if we're in a good downtrend, we should be slowly working down. It's just whether we do it straight away or not. Yeah, it shouldn't really be a low volume day. I mean, the big boys had their time off last week, so there should be a lot of the bigger commercial traders in. Where are we? The market's been open for about an hour. I don't know. Are we having slow volume? I don't know. Okay, so that's the first entry. I'd prefer we break above this candle here. I've got to say now when I'm looking at a chart, I get a feeling if something's not right. Hey Luca, how you doing, buddy? Our resident Italian guy here. A lower high, this one here. Waiting for the... of course, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I've got this down at 6:30 on my chart, which is in 3 hours, about 3 hours. Yeah, it's Chairman Powell speaking, isn't he? See, the only trouble is that like that, and we've had a break out of it. Or is it like that? Or are we having a push back down again? We've come back up to the EMA. I'll say that EMA is such an important little indicator, isn't it? really does act like a magnet. I'm going to get rid of that for now. Yeah, so we've had our short-term trend channel, we've had a break from it and a new low, and now we're moving up. You guys probably know a little bit more about the state of the US economy than me. I know little bits about anyone I pick up in trading, but obviously, you know, I know what's happened over here with our economy. We're basically getting shafted. But I think everywhere's the same. It was always going to happen. I mean, over here, if during the lockdown people sent home, and there was millions of people sent home, and the government were paying 80% of their wages. And I know self-employed people, which I was at the time, got big grants. There was that much money thrown away. It had to come back and bite us in the arse at some point, which is why we're getting, I think we're currently about 11% at the moment, which is causing everything to go up. And I think it's the same everywhere, I think, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Are you UK as well, are you, Scruffy? Where are you from, bud? But yeah, everything's going up at the moment. Yeah, I've already reloaded it once this morning, but I'll reload it again. But I wouldn't be too concerned if it's different. It's always different. I've asked that question a dozen times in the past. I spoke to Mark. Oh, you like the course you are, yeah. Yeah, I bet you're feeling it there, aren't you? That's pricey. I take it. What are you? Yeah, you're probably on the outskirts, are you? Or let's have a look. Is that any better, mate? Is it? You took that failed. Which one? First entry. Second. That's the only failure I can see there, unless you've come down from here. Yeah, I mean, it might not be on my chart, mate. Fail second entry long with a nice signal bar. What we like to live in. I gotta say, I dream, I do. I'm a big dreamer, and I think if I ever earn enough money doing this, or any money doing this, I think I'd like to go to Dubai. You know what, mate? I've watched that many YouTube videos about Dubai. I've even looked on Facebook, websites about the prices of apartments there. Yeah, I'm a big dreamer. I'm always looking at cars. I'm always looking at houses. I'm a big dreamer. But, you know, we've got to have our dreams, haven't we? This is what inspires me. It's what keeps pushing me on. But, yeah, if you can earn some good... I knew a guy who was from Norfolk, and he went over to Dubai as a teacher. This was about 10 years ago. And I think about 4 years ago, he started trading. And I think he told me he was currently earning about 300,000 a year at the time. And he worked out that he was paying about 140,000 a year in tax. So he went over to Dubai. I talk to him now and again. I think his name's Joe. I can't remember. And I chat to him now and again. He sent me a couple of messages, and he moved over to Dubai, and he loves it. Absolutely loves it over there. But he lives comfortably just for the money he was paying on his tax here. He doesn't technically need to touch his wages, although he's having a whale of a time there apparently. It's all tax-free over there. Apparently, it's a 30% cheaper than living in London. I don't know, but that's what I'd love to do. I show my wife it and my daughter. I've even looked at some of those YouTube channels, those couples that walk around showing you different apartments and what you get for $1,000 a month and what you get for $6,000 a month and so on. But yeah, I'm a big dreamer. I am. just want a better life for me and my family. And I think if you can sort of get the right balance doing this, there's certainly plenty of money to be earned. We're stacking up a bit here, aren't we? I mean, that's the second entry short. We're going short if that breaks below, but I don't like the fact that these 3 or 4 bars are going sideways on. We had something similar a while ago. Further back, I think it was here. I can't remember. I left it alone and it would have stopped me out if I'd have taken it. So I'm a big dreamer. Big dreamer. That looks a little better. I've gone to this red candle here if I go up. That's not looking too bad. I don't think it's... I think this initial push here, a couple of bits of news we had, I'll just take this spike out of the equation, but we certainly seem to be working down there. Incidentally, I'll be streaming again tomorrow from about the same time, 2:30. I've got to try and figure out. I can set up a scheduled stream, but then I can't seem to get that scheduled stream to work. So then I just start an instant stream. So I've got to try and work out how to activate that stream and get that to work. I'll figure it out. Okay, so we seem to be the top of that trend is holding prices at the moment. See what we're doing here. That's a positive sign. The only trouble is, a bar like that, I'm aware if I'm going to take that as a second entry short, it's got to break above here. That's my understanding of it. Although that does look positive, doesn't it? The price is, the top of the trend channel's held that price 3 times. But I'm not convinced that's going to end up, yeah, it's not as bearish as I'd like it, really. But this trend channel is holding the price. Okay. Yeah, me too, mate. At least we've established we're in a nice little downtrend. And unlike a lot of downtrends lately, this seems to be sitting nice right at the top of this and relatively okay at the bottom. But we seem to be a little bit of sideways movement here, which we did there, to be fair. And we did there before we carried on down. You know, I think if you've got the patience to sit here and take the best trades, I don't see how you can go wrong, really. It's just the psychological side of it. I've had great days sometimes where I've just sat here so patient and I've just taken good trade after good trade. But I think the bit that then gets in your way is when you have one of those awkward days, those really tough days where it's going sideways and it's bouncing all over the place. You still feel the need that as you're on you're on the chart, you have to trade, but I suppose some days you don't. Second entry indicators, yeah, you can get those. You know, I considered that, but I think it's important to also learn to spot them, and I think they're not really that difficult to spot, second entries, once you've been looking at them for a while. I've been doing this now for about a little over 18 months. But yeah, I mean, by all means, and this is not going to do you any harm, but I do think it's useful to be able to spot them. But I've never used one, so I couldn't comment really on whether they're useful or not. But I know the Panda guy still uses them, and I think he sells them. I don't know what they cost. But you know, it's not just the second entry as well. There's a lot of time where you get a hidden second entry. You get sort of maybe like two green candles, then a red one, and then two green. On the count, they're not a second entry, but if you're visually looking at them, they look like a second entry. So the only thing about you're looking at that one. I did look at that one, mate. This one here. The only trouble is they do seem to be going a bit sideways, but like I say, they did there as well. So perhaps I missed out there. But I'm trying to be a little bit more careful, and I was just a bit unsure whether they broke this. It didn't come right down the bottom here, and I thought maybe we're bottoming out a little bit to push out, and those just stopped me taking that. But yeah, I mean, it's not really a second entry, is it? First entry, second entry. But I just scalping 4 ticks, yeah. You certainly got your 4 ticks there. It's just the way it's been held at the top of the EMA there, which is making me nervous. And I'm trying now to just calm my trades down, take a little bit less, but try and get better quality, more obvious setups. Lower high, really. You see this bar here. This is saying new high. If we had another push down, and technically that's a lower high there. We've had a new high, that's a lower high. But obviously you wouldn't take a short there. But if a lower high came down, pushed back up above this bar and ended up nice and bearish, you could take that. It's just confirmation that we are back moving down again. There you go. So Luca's got one. So who asked me? I can't remember who it was now. Yeah, they're certainly not going to harm you trading. If you are struggling to spot them quick enough, because sometimes the markets are moving quick. You know, I've missed the odd one, to be fair. I can let you try. There you go. If they, at the end of the day, if they help it make, see there's a lower high there, but you wouldn't really go short there because it's a little bit too far from the EMA. We've had a push down. We may come. I like those trades where we push down, push right back up and finish lovely bearish right below the EMA there in a downtrend there. Great trade they are. I know the Panda guy does one. I don't know what he charges for his, but you could probably try them, or I don't know. I'm not even sure whether there's any available in Ninja Trader. I think there's quite a lot to Ninja Trader. I don't even think I've scratched the surface of Ninja Trader, but there's probably some you can try, but I think it's good to be able to spot them. got to say, when I started, second entries and failed second entries, I found them so difficult. I think it was the failures. It was the failures that confused the hell out of me. You tend to forget what you were like, and I found it. I couldn't figure out what the hell a failure was or how it worked. But the more you do it, the more you get used to it. You don't think twice then. But I think it's good to be able to spot them. Yeah, see, we have had a little bit of a break. We've had a break out of this channel. I'm just wondering whether I'd say momentum's slowing down, but it doesn't look like it, does it? Just aware of that. Yeah, Luca just said it can help you at first. Absolutely. If you're finding it a little bit hard, it doesn't hurt to have a little indicator giving you a little bit of a bleep when one pops up. But you will get to the stage where you can spot them really easy. It does get easier and easier. I think after a while, some days I need to listen to when you get a hunch about someone, I need to listen to that a little bit, because a lot of times when I look at trading, I think something just doesn't feel right. And then that little sort of excited kid that wants to make money inside you tends to just jump in and you end up losing. So I've got to listen to that inner voice. Yeah, see, there's a lower high there. Well, technically, if you don't count the top, it could be a failure, but I'm not taking that at the moment, because this line it's holding price action at the moment. I mean, it may well push down, but that's why I'm going to leave that one alone if it ends up bearish, which is looking like it is. That's close enough to the EMA for me. But I mean, we could be sort of, I don't know, we're doing something like this, who knows. But I just don't like the way that price has been held at that area. Absolutely context, Luca. Yeah, I don't know how many times when I first started, I was taking second entries, but I was taking second entry longs in a perfect downtrend. So absolutely, yeah. Just because there's a second entry doesn't mean you could take it. If you see a second entry short, really, the market wants to be moving down. You really don't want to be counter trending. But when I first started, I remember Daniel. I think Daniel made a comment to me which really helped me. He said, "You're just looking for setups." But they're in the wrong direction. You're almost just looking for patterns. That's it. It doesn't matter where the market's going. But, you only really want to be taking shorts in a downtrend. You only really want to be taking longs in an uptrend. That's unless we're in a range, and then, the most obvious thing to do would be to short the tops and buy the bottoms. But that's easier said than done. I know ranges lately, every time it reaches the top, it's bouncing in a different area. Every time it reaches the bottom, it's bouncing in a different area, and it is getting tough. And then you get some days where it's not a range, it's not a trend, it's just bouncing all over the place. And sometimes that's what I need to focus my trending on. I tend to get in too easy to those days, and I get sucked in, which they're designed to suck you in, chew you up and spit you out. And I've had my fair share of blown days, accounts trading on those days. So yeah, I think you've really got to be, those days where it's bounced all over the place, you've got to be really careful. Yeah, see this lower high here, which looks like a relatively good trade, but we're holding the bottom. If you notice, I think traders are unsure. Are we going higher? Are we going lower? Which is why we're getting those bars stacked in a line a bit. Yeah, Jimmy, trend channels can be, you know, I was told, the advice I was told is start with your short-term trend, you know, trend channels, like these red ones and that. Start with those, they're most important. And a lot of times, sometimes I can do something like this. And I can be looking for shorts here, where if you take that away, effectively what's happened is we've had a downtrend, a break and a new low. So then the market then would usually, more often than not, be working the way up. Whereas if I draw my trend channel like this, you know, I'm looking for shorts again. So it's not black and white. It's a lot down to experience and feeling. So I tend to now start with my short-term trends, realise we've made a break and a new low. So I've got to be careful taking sort of shorts, because theoretically we're moving up, which is what we have done, back up to the top of this range, trend channel. Now we're obviously moving down a little bit, but it's stalling around this bottom here, which is making me nervous. So I'm trying to, whenever I get that feeling, I'm trying to just stay out. And we are getting some sideways movement, which usually indicates we've got a balance of buyers and sellers in the market, and an area of uncertainty. Because it's being held by this, people are not sure whether we're actually bouncing off here now and we're going to work our way up, or are we going to continue down. So I've got to try and stay out of those. So if you did go short there, it'd be interesting to see whether you would have, see, in another life I may have gone short there, but I'm trying to be a little bit more careful. But it'd be interesting. That's where my stop's going to be. It'd be interesting to see if we do break up here and take that area stop. Yeah, absolutely. I've always learnt from Mac, if we take this downtrend here, I take from the top of the wick and then just follow down the bodies and just make it look as good as it can. That's clearly a downtrend, that's clearly a break, and a new low. That's what we do most of the time when we break out of a channel. Then we make a new extreme. In a downtrend's case, the new extreme is a new low, and then market then would move off in the other direction. But as this is a downtrend, it'd be very easy to get suckered into a trade there, when theoretically we've had a break and a new low. You then would be moving upwards. You know, we sort of came down here, we've had a break and a new low there. Let me draw that one there. Yeah, that's a trend channel there. We've had a break and a new low. And then we pull back up to here. It'd be very easy to get stuck in a short there. And then, you know, you may get triggered and then stopped out. So I think that's where a lot of experience and feeling comes into it. Yeah, it looks like anybody in that trade there is quite possibly going to get stopped out. If you're in that trade, I hope you don't, but I have a feeling you may do. But often the trend can, the trend's your friend, and sometimes the trend can help you out when you get yourself into a sticky situation. But always stick to those short-term trends. Always draw those first. They're so important. They'll give you so much more information than forgetting them and then picking a bigger overall trend. That's something I've struggled with from time to time. Yeah, price is stalling. Yeah, no worries, bud. Plenty of people have helped me out. You know, I've got to say, if you are finding things difficult, you're still learning, a bit of advice. At the end of the day, take a screenshot of your chart, post it on the Facebook group and ask for some feedback. That's what I did that for months and months and months. Ask for some feedback, ask for some scrutiny, and learn. And I had plenty of help. I had, if it wasn't for all the feedback I've had from off my charts, I wouldn't have been where I am today. Still struggling and failing evaluations. But no, I feel I'm a better trader. It's a process. It's a journey. It takes time. You learn from experience. Every time you lose a trade, you learn something. Every time you win a trade, you learn something. But all I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to get back into that rhythm of waiting for a solid trade. It's so easy to get sucked into something half-hearted and you regret it. And those are the ones that tend to send me on tilt. And I'm trying now to just leave things alone. If it means I've got to sit there all day for one trade, then so be it. If it means I don't even take a trade or I miss a day, so be it. And it's all part of this learning journey. And it's tough. If trading was easy, everyone would be doing it. And I kind of love the fact that it's difficult, because I know when I eventually make it, I'll be one of those. You just got stopped out there. If you went short in that lower high there, you just got stopped out. That area that's been held price, that sort of put me off that. But yeah, it's a process. I got to say, it's been a great journey for me. This is by far the hardest thing I've ever had to learn. But that's what I like about it. I like a challenge. I hate, I've got a lot of bad qualities. I can be lazy sometimes. Sometimes I can't be bothered. Some jobs I've had in the past, I've just had days where I think, I just really don't want this. But I've always had this thing about me, that if there's something that scares me or something I can't do, I don't like the fact that something stops me. I went through a stage years ago of being frightened of flying, so I had some flying lessons until I got rid of it. I did a little bit of skydiving in my younger days because it scared me, and it was something that I didn't want to not do because it scared me. So I like a challenge. I like to try and do something that someone says I can't do. Yeah, see, that to me looks like a nice solid bar, and it's right where I'd normally take a trade, but we're still in this sort of slideward move. I'm guessing we're probably going to come down here again now and retest this low. It's not quite a second entry, but that's the type of candle I like, and that's the type of area I like it in, right below that EMA, nice and tight on it. But obviously with the sideways movements, it's a trade I'm leaving alone. I've been stuck and caught out in them. I wouldn't be shocked if it went above and stopped that out. And it's a nice feeling when that happens, when you decide to leave a trade because something doesn't feel right, which it eventually would have got stopped out. I'm just going to switch my mic off for 2 minutes. I'm just going to nip to the loo. Won't be a second. Oh, there you go, I'm back. All emptied. Yeah, absolutely, I concur there. Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. I've listened to the audiobook about half a dozen times. Sadly, he's not with us anymore. Passed away a few years back. But yeah, personal journey, absolutely. Couldn't have put that better myself. Personal journey, it is a personal journey. You learn a lot about yourself, I've got to say. You go through all different moods and emotions. I've had days where I've been snapping at my wife. I've had days where I've been miserable. I haven't wanted to talk to anybody. I've had days where I felt depressed and down. All sorts of days. Yeah, if you'd have been short there, you'd have won that trade. It's just too sideways for me. I had a feeling that price was holding this, and it has done. We've had a little break below and we've moved up, so let's wait and see where we go from here. But yeah, fortunately, one thing I've learned about myself is I've got a thick skin. I can take knockback after knockback after knockback, and you will have many knockbacks and many bad days, and more than any other job I've learned it's difficult. But I've got quite a good way of processing it in the background over a couple of 3 days, and then I wake up and I'm raring to go again. So that's one thing I've learnt about myself. But it is a personal journey. You've hit the hammer on the nail there. Personal journey it is, my friend. And hopefully I'll come out the other end of it in one piece. Fingers crossed. Oh yeah, stubborn. I can be stubborn as well. You know, mate, I've got an evaluation. I've literally gone in 5 or 10. I'll tell you one thing I will say as well. Now I've got a 14-year-old daughter, and she's going through that really sort of mouthy stage. And we've had some sort of household rows. Never trade after a row. You almost go into self-destructive mode and do stupid things. Yeah. A trade has a big effect on your emotions. So if you're having a bad day or you've had bad news, my advice is stay away from the screen. I'd say a few times we've had big rows at home, and I've traded after. Big mistake. Does anybody ever take into consideration chart patterns? I know when I first started trading 2 years ago, I did 6 months. 6 months of trading currency, and that was a lot of trade sort of patterns, looking at patterns, chart patterns. Obviously, with this price action, I tend to not look at patterns, but yeah, see, that may be a nice place to take a short on top of here. But I like things too. Ooh, I think I'd be stupid to miss
Order
that.
submitted.
I can't hope it doesn't actually. 10 ticks, point above, point below. That's 12. That's 3 points. Yeah. Okay, I'm kind of glad that happened. I kind of like it to hit this 3 times in separate places. Yeah, Jimmy, I've not so much done
Order
that, mate,
cancelled.
but I'll tell you what I have done. Quite a few times I've got up to about 2,700 by taking stupid trades, and then continued and then got down to 0. You know, like I might have traded 5 or 6 or 8 contracts, and I've got up to about 300 shy. And instead of thinking, all right, time to calm down now, all you got to do is take one good trade, I've carried on and I've ended up blowing it. So you can get into these real whirlwind of emotions uh, and do some really stupid things. Yeah, it's quite weird how trading affects you emotionally. Makes you do things you wouldn't think you'd do. Brand, I don't find that tick bars work out the same as chart patterns. Used for time basis bars. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I noticed the Panda guy I watched him train the other day, and he sort of was doing. He put a pattern like a wedge pattern. We tend to not draw patterns. Ours are sort of always parallel lines, but he sort of drew a wedge panel, a wedge pattern. Now, if you have a downtrend going into a wedge panel, a wedge pattern, usually if it came from the top, it would break out from the bottom. So those type of patterns that I'm talking about, he had one. And I know a lot of day traders use them. I don't think I've seen anybody using them, trading this style. I just wondered if anybody had, used them or know anybody that has used them. So sometimes you can get into a little bit of a pattern, can't you? As we've pulled in here and we've gone a little bit sideways, are we likely to continue down? You'd think so, but we seem to be doing the opposite here. See this downward channel here, we have had a break and sort of two pushes down to a new low, and now we seem to be working out, and we having another breakout. Yeah, I'll take your word for that, mate. Yeah, Brant's saying they don't work out the same. Yeah, I was just browsing something the other day and I saw something on the internet, like an A4 page, a PDF that you can download showing just patterns where markets sort of are likely to go. But I've not seen anybody. I think that, well, from what I understand of trading, the simpler the chart is, often the better it is. Sometimes you can add so many different patterns and so many different indicators that it can get that confusing. They have all sorts of different movement, convergence, divergence, and RSIs, and all sorts of different things. I mean, you see some charts on the internet and they almost look like works of art rather than a trading screen. The thing I like about this, it's one chart, one screen, one time frame, and it's just made up really of sort of parallel lines, really. The only sort of indicator we have really is the moving average. And I often think, really, well, from what I've learnt, the simpler the chart is, the easier it is. Not enough people trade tick bars. Yeah, I don't really know, mate. They probably don't. I sort of stumbled across this by accident. I did a 6-month mentorship with a guy called Andrew Lockwood. He's a currency trader in the UK. Now, he started his trading career in the London Stock Exchange in the trading pits in the 1980s, and he worked in various different trading floors around the world. I think he did some in the USA, in Singapore. A very experienced guy, and I think in the early 2000s, maybe around 2004, 2006, he started trading from his home, just trading his own funds. And I did a mentorship with him. I paid a small amount, it wasn't a huge amount, a few £100 or something, to become part of his group for about 6 months. And that's where I learned basics about trading. I mean, he starts off very, very basic, what a bar is, the various different bits of information it gives you and so on. And I did that for 6 months, and I saw he was the guy they tend to talk about a lot that tried to sort of repackage Max course, I can't remember. Asian looking guy, I think he's American. I can't remember his name. Michael Chin. I saw him trading and I think something just clicked. I liked the idea, I liked the style, I liked that it was, see where I was sort of day trading or swing trading a little bit, doing currency. I was in a trade maybe for a day or possibly for a couple of days. I like you might have multiple trades. I like the fact that you've just got one trade going. Okay, this is tempting here. We've broke out of this area now. But it's very tempting, that is. But there's a little bit of, it's probably going to plunge down, but I don't like the way I don't know, something doesn't feel right. There's a little bit of sideways stack in there. I don't know. Yeah, Michael Chin. I think it's probably, let's have a look. It's not really a second entry, is it? Yeah, it's probably okay actually. But yeah, I saw Michael Chin, and I think, is it Coleman? Somebody Coleman? I can't remember. There's a couple of them. And I liked the way he was trading. I just one chart, one time frame, and scalping. I'm quite a wired person. Whatever I do in life, I tend to just do it pretty quickly. I'm not a slow, methodical, calculated type of person, and this style of trading tends to suit my personality, I think. Yeah, I've never traded any options before. There's so many different ways of trading and different platforms out there, and different things you can trade. It's endless, and I suppose it's what originally attracts you to trading that you probably, I don't know, follow on. I don't know. People trade all sorts of stuff, don't they? But no, I mean, I've just traded currency and then futures here, but I've never looked. I looked into options just to find out. It's always interesting to find out what other methods are out there. I've swing trade a little bit of cryptocurrency on Bybit. I've done that a little bit more just for fun, really. I tend to buy cryptocurrency, and if it does, I'll buy it, and if it goes up a little bit, I'll sell it and make a few percent or something, just more for a bit of fun. See, if I'd have gone short there, I usually take 1-to-1. Yeah, that's sort of 2.2. I'd have taken more than 2.25 points off that. So if I'd have taken that short there, if I'd have taken that short, I may get a little bit stuck there. But same again, we've broken out this downtrend. We seem to go a little bit sideways, which is telling me that traders are unsure. I don't know. There's an even mix of traders. Are we going up as we've broken? Because we have already had one break and a new low here. Are we now pushing up out of this channel, or are we stalling there and eventually the shorts will win the race and then we'll continue down? Well, it's certainly a nice candle to go short, but there's no real sort of obvious second entry there. But I just don't like the way we're getting this sideways movement. Sideways movement has been the bane of my life. CFDs, is that contracts for differences? Is it contracts for difference? Spread betting. To be fair, mate, I don't even know what spread betting is. I mean, I've heard of it. FTSE or the DAX. No, I'm not sure what spread betting is. I've heard of CFDs, but I'm not sure what spread betting is. I know there's a UK guy that runs a spread betting channel, but I'm not 100% sure what spread betting is. Yeah, looks like if anybody's in that short and they've taken, or they've held for more than 2.225 points, you may get stopped out here. It's certainly tempting. We've had a good push up and then we've sort of slowly feathered off at a big bearish bar. We've broken out of this, but we've already had a break and a new low, so that's what made me leave this alone. So that Powell news is in about 2 hours. I tend to use my Alexa and put a reminder on, I do. But I'll probably be finished by then. I don't think I'll sit here for another 2 hours. Where are we now? Coming up 2 hours. I tend to like to keep my trading around about the 3 hour mark. Sometimes the longer you sit here it can get a bit harsh, but we'll see. Not heard anything from Michael Chin lately. He stopped streaming about, or he stopped. I think his last YouTube video was about 2 years ago. But what's the other guy? Coleman, Randy Coleman? No, what's his name? Riley. I noticed he's putting new videos on YouTube, but he's changed his methods a little bit. I'm not sure why. I did consider looking at other ways of trading and other strategies, but one thing I remember being told was find a strategy that you know works and stick to it. It's very easy to try a strategy and think, oh, I'll try something else, and then you tend to be I think sometimes these strategies and methods of trading take a little bit longer than you think. It's very easy to get maybe a bit frustrated down that it's not working like it should and move on to something else, but I think it's important to stick at them. I trust Mac. He comes over as a nice fella. I know his videos on YouTube go back over 12 years. You're not on YouTube 12 years putting video after video if you're not good at what you do and successful at what you do. And I've been doing this long enough now to know this is a good system. And it's often, the patience and the discipline that let you down, which is why you may not be succeeding as well. But I think ultimately you just got to keep at it, keep plugging away. The more screen time you have, every time something happens on a chart, you're constantly learning. You're building up those little memory cells. Yeah. So you got short here, more than 2.25 points. You've just been stopped out there. So that's another trade that I decided to leave. So there's 2 trades I've done today that I've decided to leave, that on another day may have taken. So being a little bit more careful certainly pays off. So this has been a little bit more successful a day for me rather. Yeah, so there's another sort of possible second entry short there. I'm just wondering whether there's going to be some longs in there. I did think when it hit that it would push up a little bit, and it has. Is this another place to go short? See, what I see at the moment is this EMA's moving upwards. So I'm a little bit not inclined to take a short trade at the moment, and you're about to get stopped up if anybody went into that one there. Okay. Yeah, so that's another place where I may have taken one. That's technically a second entry short. Because we've had a good strong, well, I say good strong, good steady downtrend today. Some may consider this a break. I consider this a break of a channel and two legs down, two legs to a new low. Some may drag that up a little bit, or may not consider that a substantial enough break and think this is a break, and they're then looking for a short to make a new low. Absolutely right, mate. Absolutely right. Money's made by sitting. That's the key, isn't it? Having the patience to just sit there. I remember listening to somebody mentioned it earlier in his book. What's his name? Forget his name now. Mark Douglas. I remember listening to his book, and he said, if you can sit there patient, when you get it and you can do it, trading becomes easy. Now, if you can manage the psychological side and you're experienced enough to read the market, it shouldn't be any more difficult than that. If you're experienced enough to take trades, it's simple. If you can manage the psychological side of it and it doesn't bother you, it's simple. It should be simple. But obviously it's getting to that point where, it becomes more of just a day-to-day thing that you do. But yeah, like Mark Douglas says, when you get it, when it works, trading becomes easy. It's just sort of training that brain to sort of work the way a trader works. And, the sort of things you've got to go through and experience to become that type of person. But yeah, the more I do this, the more it does feel like a journey and a process. It's not black and white. There's a lot of grey area. It's just a slow, winding road up the hill. And at some point, if you're consistent and you keep trying and keep pushing and keep learning, at some point you're going to emerge on the top. Hopefully. And I suppose the only hope is we don't die before that happens. I'm just going to switch my mic off just for a few minutes. I'm just going to run downstairs, make myself a quick coffee, and I'll bring it back up. Back with you in 5. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Well, we certainly broke out of this downtrend, that's for sure. Let's see that. It's probably a spiking channel. Certainly stalling a little bit. What's that news? Yeah, it's still 2 hours nearly until the Fed news. Yeah, one thing I'm trying to learn at the moment is these reverse patterns that indicates a reversal. I'm just not confident enough. I certainly thought things were slowing down, which is why I drew this line down here. But I thought things were slowing down. I didn't necessarily think there was a reversal. So whether there's a reversal pattern there or not, I'm not really so sure. I've not looked much into reversal patterns. So let me come back into this channel. Yeah, it's definitely gone flat, isn't it? It's not doing a great deal, really, is it? suppose the news has got something to do with it. Mind you, the news is nearly 2 hours away, isn't it? You think that's a bit too far away to make a difference, but maybe it isn't. It's going to turn into one of those days. I think Daniel, if anybody knows Daniel from the Facebook group, nice guy, he's helped me out quite a few times. I believe he's involved with a slightly different form of trading. It's basically the same, but they use... I got invited into the group maybe about 6 months ago. I forget the guy's name who runs it. He basically it's basically the same, but you use a lot more. There's a lot more parallel lines on there which are showing sort of areas of resistance. But I got invited to be part of the forum, and I did it for a couple of days, but it was a little bit beyond me, and I thought maybe I might take a look at a later stage. So I think Daniel's involved in that a little bit. But I looked at their charts, and I think their probabilities, their trade probabilities, even higher than Max, I think.
Order submitted.
Okay, that's a second entry long at the minute. Certainly not a good bar. Whether it's going to push down a bit further, I don't know. See, at the moment we've had this trend. We've had a bit of a break from it. This is tempting. I just don't like the way it's all. Mind you, if it is a little bit of a channel, it's certainly the bottom of it, but I'm not so sure. Okay. Yeah, something doesn't feel right about that. I don't think it's a bad trade, I just don't like the way it's going sideways. If I take that long, I'm taking it right in the middle of that range, which is something I don't want to do, so I'm going to cancel.
Order cancelled.
Might shoot up, it possibly will, no, might not. I don't know, it's just making me a bit nervous, that. If I'm going to go long there, I prefer it to come right down here and maybe finish bearish just above there. That's a bit too far from this for me, and it's still in that range, and I certainly don't want to be going along there. I mean, there's probably only less than a point from there to the top, maybe. Yeah, maybe a point, less than a point. It's no good for me, considering the size of the bar. 5-9. Is that only 2.5 points? Is that all it is? I thought it was a bit bigger than that. 2.5 points. So tick above it, tick below, that's a 3-point bar. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me. But yet sometimes with these trades here, if it doesn't feel right, when it pushes down here, I may jump in here because there's only a little bit of risk. And then if it does push up eventually, but I tend to be a little bit unlucky on those lately, so I'll leave them alone. I want to try and do it all or nothing. I want to try and do it properly. I don't want to try and scrappily get a few ticks from here. I'd rather wait for a proper trade. And it is a second entry, but it's still sideways. Yeah, I mean, you could take it here, and if that's 2.5, 3 points, you're risking 1.5 points. If you get in here, it may push up, you may get a little bit out of it, but I've been in trades like that and they tend to be a bit scrappy, so I'd rather leave them alone. And I don't like the way this is dipping down. Yeah, I think with this impending news, it's slowed the market down. I mean, it's been moving sideways now for 5 minutes, isn't it? At least. I think there's a lot of traders staying out of the market at the moment. I thought it being, where are we now? Coming up 5 o'clock where I am. It's an hour and 40 minutes away. I thought people would be still trading strong, but Maybe they are. Maybe it's just because it's going sideways. People, I'm not sure what it's doing, so they tend to staying out of it. But I'm quite glad now I didn't get into that trade, because looks like not quite. You may get stopped out. It's a second entry, but it's just too far. One, it's too far from the email. I prefer the bulk of the body to be here and the stem further down. And it's in that sideways movement. You're going to get stopped out near anybody. Nothing's worse than getting into a trade there and being stuck in it. Nothing's worse. If I ever go sideways, get stuck in a sideways trade, I try and get out of it as quick as. Hopefully for without a loss. Nothing worse than being stuck in them trades that are slow. Oh, there you go. Anybody was in that trade, they're out of it. I'm glad. So that's 3 trades now I left today that I may have got a bit too excited and hasty and got stuck in. So when you leave 3 trades alone because something doesn't feel right or something's not right, makes you feel good. It's a nice feeling. Makes you feel like you're making better decisions. You're a bit more on track. Okay, so we've had this nice slow trend up here, and now we've had a break. Clear break. Now do you go long here? Long here with a nice bullish bar. Let's have a look. First entry, second entry. Okay, so we've had a break out the channel. I think that's a good trade. We've had a breakout of this range. Most breakouts fell. We've had a breakout the channel. Most breakouts failed.
Order submitted.
So I think if that stays bullish, I think that's worth a punt. No, I'm off.
Order cancelled.
It's pushed up quite as high. I prefer it to finish on its high. We'll get a bit of sideways there. Again, yeah, it's listen to that gut, isn't it? Sometimes that little gut feeling you've got, you can sort of overpower it a bit by being eager to get into a trade and make some money. I think sometimes you've got to hold back and listen to that. You know, we have those feelings and those instincts for a reason, and they're usually right more often than not. Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Sometimes you just seem in such a much better frame of mind to trade. Last Thursday, God, I made a right ash of it. Yeah, that frame of mind does make a difference. I know I was chatting brief with that Penguin guys. I know he said he has a little bit of he does a little bit of meditation before his trades to help. I haven't done, but I don't think it's going to do any harm. Yeah, take it easy, Jimmy. Be lucky, mate. 5 o'clock, isn't it? Yeah. I like to do a couple of trades if I can, but I'm happy with the one. Nice to finish the day in the green. You're going to get days that you're going to sit here for 3-4 hours and take one trade, and then you're going to get. I had a day a week ago when the first 45 minutes I had 3 perfect trades. 3 perfect trades, 3 perfect wins. And the market does seem to be going slow. I mean, look, we've had about, 10 bars in the last 30 minutes there. It's just doing nothing really, is it? Yeah, I think I might call it a day myself. I mean, it's taken about, 35, 40 minutes just to do that. Market's clearly stalling. I'm up a trade today, and I want to try and stay that way. I think if it's gone like that over the last 40 minutes, it's quite likely going to do that up until the news. So I'm probably going to call it a day. So I appreciate everybody who's looked in. I'll be streaming again tomorrow from around about 9:30 when the market opens, a few minutes before the market opens. So I hope everyone's had a successful day, whether you've had some money out of the market today, hopefully. So I'll call it a day there. So take it easy, stay safe, and I will see you all tomorrow.